Hello and welcome to the GNamer Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Summerhage. You might know me as Busk Lily or Drunker Lily. I'm joined, as ever, because I can't get rid of him, by Chris Pengilly, who you might know as Matt off Bath. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm joined by Scott Hall, who you might know as Orange Raccoon. Why don't you explain who you are and why we should care?
Hello, yep, so I'm Orange Raccoon. I'm from over on the Super O&M forums, which is the successor to the official Nintendo magazine UK forums, which, as I'm sure you'd all agree, was the best Nintendo magazine in the UK for the last few years.
It was at one point, because Nintendo Gamer had shut.
I was going to say, did Matthew Castle, was in the official Nintendo at some point? Or something?
Yeah, he was, I don't know when. But,
he turned coke towards the end.
So, I suppose
Very good at steering sinking ships.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
Speaking of things that are not good, we all woke up to some pretty awful news on Monday. Satoru Iwata died.
Yeah, quite sad news. I woke up, had a couple of messages on my phone from people. Have you seen about Iwata? And I was like, what are you on about? And it was like, he's passed away. And it's like, really?
Yeah, I woke up to a text from my mum and a couple of Facebook messages, and just barely even believed it at first. And it was just, the whole day I was just really bummed out. It was a grey, miserable day. I felt, it's like a lot of people have said, it's not, he was, a head of a company, it's not someone you knew. Because of the way he did it and the fact that he really dedicated himself to making fun games, it did feel like quite a personal loss, and like you'd lost someone who was a friend and who you knew.
I mean, the fact he was in a lot of Nintendo Directs as well, people had seen him and knew him from there. He wasn't just this name at the top of a company that, with other companies where, okay, they're in charge, but no one knows about them. He was on these Nintendo Directs, which, as Nintendo fans, everyone watches, and saw him on those.
He did Nintendo Directs, he did the Water Asks, he was very...
At E3 as well.
Yeah, that's what he'd be remembered for, I think, for being a hands-on president and, doing like the banana skit and stuff on the Directs.
Well, I come in, sort of since he died, all these stories I'm hearing, which I'd never heard before, about him, well, like you say, being hands-on, but inside the company as well, and so many moments from great games which wouldn't have happened if he hadn't, pulled his sleeves up and got stuck in. He really is a terrible loss for anyone who likes games, even if they're not a big Nintendo fan.
Yeah, because you've even seen, like, other companies, I've seen, like, Phil Spencer and stuff, like, tweet, like, how it's a huge loss and how, like, him and Nintendo influenced the gaming industry and stuff.
Yeah, Sony as well did that, so PlayStation tweeting.
I've seen Shuhei and stuff tweeting and all about it.
I think there were tributes from everywhere. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
He really was, him and the Wii and the DS really was what got everyone playing games. And I think, if I look around now, even if they're not playing a Nintendo, a lot of people have got a game on their phone, they've got some sort of device. Everyone games now, and he was a big part of that. So he is a loss that the whole world's gonna feel, I think.
Yeah, it's to be interesting where Nintendo obviously goes from now if they put another game programmer in charge or a businessman in charge.
Because obviously, what's troubling, you've heard a lot of stories from, the meetings of the board and things, and it sounded like Iwata was the one man standing between, the fans and the idiotic things that, the suits wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they'll find someone who's got the bravery that he had to say, no, we're Nintendo and we're going to make great games, and we'll worry about the money afterwards.
Yeah, hopefully. That's,
Yeah, a great man and a sad loss.
Yes.
What I was thinking, something we should all do, which is also a couple of other podcasts I've sent this question into. I think we should all just share our favourite Iwata moment.
Favourite Iwata moment? Well, like I said, I'm just going to remember him from, like, the skits that he did in the Directs, like, holding a banana. Why hold a banana? It's
the banana totally one especially I love, because it wasn't even tied to a game, or like...
There was very little in the way of explanation, even afterwards.
That's why it's so funny. It was just he thought, it'd not be fun.
Like, I suppose it would have made sense if he was holding a banana and the next game he showed was Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or something, but
I think it was meant. it was meant as a Donkey Kong reference, but we can only assume. But it really wasn't clear or linked specifically to a game. So it was a complete non sequitur.
Mine actually is something which I only just found out. Has anyone heard the story about Pokemon Gold and Silver?
Nope.
So yeah, I think I heard this one, but do go on, yeah.
So it's come out, I assume it came out years ago, but it's been mentioned in a lot of articles, obviously, when he died. Towards the end of development, obviously Game Freak wanted to include Kanto at the end of Pokemon Gold and Silver, and they had failed to compress the game that the two continents would fit. And Iwata sat down himself and programmed, the game code sufficiently that they could fit Johto and Kanto into one game. So that whole end of game surprise wouldn't have happened without him.
Which is essentially half the game as well.
Yeah,
in terms
and that wasn't his job. He just thought, right, this needs doing, and he sat down and did it.
It is impressive stuff.
Yeah.
There was a similar one, I think, with Pokemon Stadium that was also said where he basically copied over the battle code from Red and Blue to the N64 in Stadium, but without any reference documents, just by looking at the code of Red and Blue and going, oh, this is how this works, so I'll make it in this as well.
A lot of people have been printing the quote he said, where he said something along the lines of, on my business card it says, I'm a company president, but in my head I'm still a game programmer, and in my heart I'm a gamer. I think that's definitely true, and you can see that in the way he operated.
It is a great quote, and I think sums it up quite nicely.
Rest in peace, Mr. Iwata. You will be missed.
He will.
Oh, sorry, Scott. Did you have one?
Oh, favourite Iwata moment was that? Or Iwata? I don't know how to say it. Well, Banana's already been mentioned. I guess I'd say his fight with Reggie. That was quite a good one,
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Just for the production values on it, or really not something you'd expect for a little throwaway video.
Yeah, that was E3 last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite recent.
Was that last year or was that the year before?
No, I want to say it was last year. It was before
I think
Smash
it was.
It wasn't at last.
It was for Smash Bros, wasn't it?
Yes, it would have been last year, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When they Matt sneezed.
How the years changed.
So yeah, from that quite sad note, what have we been playing? Scott, do you want to go first, seeing as you are the guest?
Sure. So I'm always playing lots of games on the back burner and rotating through, but I guess I'll talk about what has been quite interesting. So a couple of weeks ago, well, not last weekend before, I decided I picked up Beyond Two Souls on PS3, which is the last Quantic Dream game following Heavy Rain. And it was cheap and realised it had a co-op mode where you can play through the game in two players. So I went round my friend's house. Yeah, nor did I until I saw on the back it said 1 to 2 players, and I thought, hang on a minute, this doesn't have 2 players. Looked it up online, and you can actually download a companion app, and then the game is a single player game. But I don't know if you've played it, but you change between controlling the main character and the ghost Aiden, who helps her out. And when you play,
I've not played it, but I do remember that.
Yeah, in multiplayer,
I played it rather recently. I played it through PlayStation Beta, now's Beta.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've not played it till recently myself, but I never tried the companion app or anything.
Yeah, so it's basically on your smartphone. You have the movement controls and interaction as the ghost character by just swiping and tapping. It was quite an interesting thing. I like when games have this kind of co-op mode, which isn't a usual co-op mode, but is sort of the single player split into two. It's an interesting thing to do. In terms of the actual game, not that big a fan, but I liked what they were trying. Yeah, I'd actually be quite hesitant to call it a game because
it was hard. I reviewed it for I put a review up on Nintendo, a part of the PlayStation Now Beta, and I said it's a movie a couple of times. But if you've played Heavy Rain or Fahrenheit or anything like that, you kind of know what you're getting into when you pick up a David Cage game.
I think the difference is, and this is something that I think he has a quote on as well, David Cage himself, but in Heavy Rain, you could actually have an effect on the game in that if you mucked up a sequence, you'd die. and you'd have to try it again and do it properly. Whereas in Beyond, there's no failure states whatsoever, and I think a quite big deal made with this. And he was in an interview said that he thought if there's a game over state in a game, then that means he's failed as a developer. But what it felt like to me was it ended up being nothing I did mattered, because no matter what I did in the game, if I completely screwed up a sequence and pressed everything wrong, it would still carry on exactly the same. It kind of took away from what game elements there are in something like Heavy Rain and made it so I may as well have just been watching a movie entirely.
Yeah, I know Jay said when I was talking about it, said he just watched it on YouTube. He didn't bother playing. He just watched it on YouTube because it's just like a movie. With Ellen Page and William Dafoe in. So
yeah, it's even advertised on the box like a movie. It's got Ellen Page, William Dafoe in big writing.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that though, because when I play the Telltale games, Game of Thrones I've been really into, I sort of wish there wasn't a fail state in that, because obviously I'm interested in the story and in the making of decisions for the characters, but I can't be arsed with the quick time events and getting myself killed.
Yeah, I mean the main difference
really
I think in that
of what I'm actually into that game for.
Yeah, I think the main difference there is that the you actually still make choices. So even if there wasn't a failure state, well, as far as I could tell, not really.
There's very limited. There's something like 13 different endings, but there are hardly any different. And like the choices are, do I date this bloke or do I not date this bloke and stuff like that. And it's like the achievements or whatever. So someone like Andy who platinums games and stuff, there is a few different things that would over his few games and that, but otherwise. Not much.
I got halfway through the game, I think, because we were playing it in co-op and it was just in one big session. And if there were choices that we were making, it wasn't obvious. So in something like The Walking Dead, it's obvious that you've made a choice because it goes, who do you want to save or similar. Yeah. Whereas in this, if it was changing, we didn't even realise. So it could have been changing, but it doesn't feel like you're making a difference just because you don't know. If that makes sense.
So yeah, you wouldn't particularly rate it as a game on its own.
No, but as an interesting little curioso, or
speaking of
different,
interesting little co-op modes.
Yeah,
the first, what they call Trauma Center game on the Wii. Me and my friends would play it where one player held the Wii remote and another person held the nunchuck, because all you did on the nunchuck was choose the implement. So we would call them the nurse. And the other one, the doctor, and you'd say, "Oh, nurse, I need the scalpel. Nurse, bandages." And they swap, and we created our own little co-op mode.
That almost feels like it was made for that.
It was incredible, yeah. We tried playing it on a couple of other games that did not work so well.
No.
For example, Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that being difficult.
When you hold aim, suddenly the analog stick is also involved in aiming. You'd be trying to run away, and then the person with the remote would want to shoot something, and suddenly you're looking at the sky. Oh yeah. Anything else you've been playing that you want to have any feelings you want to share?
I've been playing a bit of Yoshi's Woolly World and Splatoon, and Monster Hunter's still ongoing, which I managed to do about a quest a day on the bus on the way to and from work, which is always fun.
Splatoon I do love an evening on, and Yoshi I've played a little of, but not much yet.
I think I'm pretty much
Hunter,
the same.
I'd love to be playing, but I broke my 3DS with gravy.
The maybe interesting game would be on Vita. I've been playing Looney Tunes Galactic Sports, which is an exclusive Vita game, believe it or not.
Is that something recent?
Yeah, it came out like last month.
Didn't know the Looney Tunes were still, getting games released.
Neither did I until I saw it. But yeah, it's
what made you pick that up of
Galactic
anything on
Sport
the Vita?
Sounds a bit Space Jam.
So you'd think so, right? And yet, out of all the sports on it, basketball does not feature, which is probably my biggest complaint with the game. That's its biggest flaw. They really missed a massive opportunity there.
They genuinely oblivious to what they were doing, do you think?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, they made a Looney Tunes game about sports in space and didn't include basketball. Who knew?
Feature the little Space Jam. Not even realised that Looney Tunes playing sport in space is something that people already know about.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So what sports can you play in space?
I mean, they're all a bit of a weird twist on sports. There's archery, which you use the motion control for, which works quite well actually. There's boxing, which is just punching other Looney Tunes characters. There's a sprint running mode, which is kind of like an endless runner, but you just move left and right to dodge and jump over stuff. And then there's one that's just called aquatic sport, which is not based on any kind of sport and has you running around on a rubber dinghy collecting your coloured balls that have in order. They're like numbered 1 to 10, and there's 4 teams, and you have to take your coloured balls in order back to your goal to score. Just very odd, as everything else is based on sports. Yeah, there's like golf as well.
They didn't include basketball. They decided to invent a new sport.
Yeah, I know. At least they did something interesting with it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually quite like it, to be fair. It's what you'd expect. It's a little mini-game collection, but they do the whole Looney Tunes theming quite well. And the reason I picked it up in the first place is because, A, I wanted something to play on the Vita, and A and B, that would be better. B, yeah, it was Looney Tunes, and I'm a fan. But
I do love the old Looney Tunes, just don't see them around so much these days.
Yeah.
No, it's not something you see.
So yeah, that was the interesting little game that probably no one else has played.
No, it's a weird one because all you really see like Vita now is either JRPGs or indie games.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the machine for those two things really. It's like have something that isn't. It's just really weird.
Yeah, especially exclusive and published by Sony. It's like
I think it would just get ported to PS3 or something, considering like the PS3's like needs obviously games.
Yeah.
So for my part, I've been playing still Dark Souls. When I say
how are you getting on with that?
Well, when I say I've been playing Dark Souls, I am currently playing Dark Souls.
Nice. I was going to say how are you getting on due to PS3 issues and stuff before.
I can play it on Steam and it works fine. I'm actually nearing the end, I think. As you were talking just now, I killed Seath the Scaleless.
Pardon?
I killed quite a late game boss as you were talking just now.
Right, nice.
And had to bite my tongue and not get excited and interrupt you.
I was going to say, isn't it a game that requires quite a bit of concentration normally? So,
Right, so the funny thing is, and this is something I've heard a couple other people say, because of the way I've built and leveled my character, I had a very, very difficult first half of the game, and I've now got a sword that just makes an absolute joke of every enemy, including like pretty major bosses.
Okay.
So I've actually like lived the main character's journey where I've gone from dying every 10 minutes. I've now become like one of the absolute gods of this world, and I'm just slaughtering everything.
And now you've reached a point where you can even record a podcast at the same time as playing. So.
Defeating a quite major boss, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I haven't. Obviously, I'm not going to have much to say about Dark Souls that hasn't been said before. It is absolutely phenomenal. It definitely deserves most of what it's said about it. And I've got an idea for a thing I'm going to write once I have finished it, which I think is going to be my magnum opus.
Cool. I gather you picked up Dark Souls 2 due to it.
Yeah, I've got Dark Souls 2 on the Xbox One sat on my shelf. I want to finish it. Well, I want to finish this one first, and I'm not going to go straight from a Dark Souls game to another Dark Souls game because I would die.
Have you been tempted by Demon Souls? 'Cause, I think that one's supposed to be like the hardest because it was like the first one, and each one's become slightly easier.
I think that's an oversimplification, but
yeah.
I sort of am, but I'm never going to have the time to do that.
So I got Demon Souls when it came out on PS3, and I probably played 4 or 5 worlds into it, but I don't think they're really my kind of game, so I never picked up Dark Souls. I picked up Dark Souls 2 because I thought I'd give it another shot, and again probably only played about an hour and a half of Dark Souls 2. But yeah, Demon Souls, from what I played, was quite difficult.
The thing about Dark Souls is almost anyone you talk to will have the story of really banging their head against it and not getting on with it at first, and then everyone reaches a point, and that's when it turns into the game you hear everyone talk about.
Yeah, I think I've
really
never had it click.
Which has that where everyone starts off hating it, and it becomes something great. And it's quite a bizarre, like, narrative to have to a game, but it is like genuinely the case in my experience. But the other game I recently completed, which I think Mass has as well, is Her Story. Or have you not completed it yet?
No, I've not played it yet. I've sent a review code for it, and I've not played it yet because I finished off Batman instead.
Okay, it is literally a game you can play in a few hours.
Although I think
you might have some trouble with the controls because it involves typing words in English.
So is this the one which is the interview with a woman, and it's you pick out recordings to listen to?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks really interesting. I've been meaning to pick it up.
It's an interesting twist on like telling a story, and there's not much I can say about it without spoiling it. But I don't really want to say anything. The one thing I will say is there's no way police computers today run that quickly, let alone in the early 90s.
So it's based in the 90s then, or was it just the feel of it?
The interviews are recorded from the 90s. I don't know if you're supposed to be playing it now.
I didn't know, because obviously, full motion video sort of games were like popular on like the Mega CD, and I say popular, they weren't popular at all. Everyone just
they tried to force them to be popular, but I don't think it worked.
I was going to say everyone just remembers like Mad Dog McGree and Night Trap for the awful party music video. So that's the first thing before I'm playing it. I've got like this stigma of full motion video games that all are bad. So it'd be interesting going into it, what it comes out like. And obviously a lot of saying it, the emotions of the game, and obviously things like Journey, obviously I'm a big fan of because of the motion aspect of it. So I'm quite looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, it is a very interesting story just anyway. But then the way it's told through you having to piece it together and sort of slowly learning what's happened and who these people are is really interesting, and sort of like Dark Souls. It shows how games can tell a story in a way that nothing else can, where you as the player have to like eke it out. And I think hopefully we'll see more stuff like that going forwards.
So
and also you'll play it in like 2 or 3 hours, so definitely get on and do it.
Yeah, I will. Once I finish work tomorrow or something, I'll have a look at that. Anything else?
I've completed it. You've completed it, and you will have, and Mus has. So maybe for Nintendo, instead of just writing a review, we could film police interviews and make that our review.
I suppose I suppose we could do something different for it, because it could be a hard one to review. Mus brought it up on the site. I've not read any reviews on it. I know like Chris Skillian reviewed it, I think, so I've not read his to see how someone with experience has reviewed it.
I've not actually read anything.
I think it seems like all the reviews and previews were basically saying it's good, but I don't want to say anything about it because I don't want to ruin it, just as you just said now. So it's kind of hard to review, I guess.
So nothing else you've been playing, Luke?
Nothing like I said, when Scott was talking, a bit of Splatoon, a bit of Yoshi. My plan was to play Yoshi as Dark Souls got too frustrating, but then Dark Souls hasn't been that frustrating. I think it's its ass.
Nice. Nothing on the Xbox One then?
I played through, what was it called? Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah.
That was enjoyable. Sort of, like I said, I sort of always knew I would enjoy the Devil May Cry games, but I'd never got around to playing one. So it's quite nice to give that a go. But no, I haven't really played in much else. I've downloaded Black Flag, because that was the Games of Gold game. So I'll muck about on the sea a little bit. And every now and then I shoot some aliens in Halo, but...
Yeah, that's one game I've obviously picking up with Xbox One again. I got Halo, I've played a bit of Halo 1. Tried to get into some multiplayer games with no hope.
I was so bad at Halo multiplayer, I've just packed it in.
Yeah, I tried to get into a few games. I couldn't even get into them, sort of thing, which is a little bit disappointing considering it's got all those great maps, like Zanzibar and stuff on there, and Sidewinder, classes from Halo 1 and Halo 2. Bit disappointing. I will play through Halo 1 through 4 and ODST at some point.
Yeah, I played 1 through 3, and I liked it so much.
So you've played pretty much the 3 good ones, and obviously Reach isn't on there.
I'm hoping they'll bring Reach across in some capacity. Or if not, I suppose it'll be backwards compatible now, won't it? So.
Yeah, Reach they might make backwards compatible.
Sure they will. Up for a $5 from Insane, then I'll be sorted.
Yeah. And Wars, obviously, as well, which is obviously different. Just quite good. If you're interested,
I've been reading
if you're interested in I was going to say, if you're interested in the Halo story, lore, you want to play Wars for the lore over the game, really. Even though it is a good spin-off of the Halo series.
I've never gotten on very well with RTS games.
Yeah, it's really dumbed down for an RTS.
But my brother is the big RTS man in the family, so I might just sit and watch him play it.
It's gone like Xbox guys are dudes. They like Halo shooting things. Let's make it really simple, and it is really simple. But like I said, if you like,
Halo was born in RTS.
Fun.
Halo was originally an RTS when they started making it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, when it was on the Mac, or when it was supposed to be on the Mac, it's really weird making it exclusive. Yeah, to make it exclusive for the Mac, that's just even more mind blowing than the exclusive for the Vita. Really.
So yeah, Chris.
Obviously, like I said, I talk about Halo. One I went back to because I picked it up quite cheap was The Last of Us. I picked it up on PS4, so it's the remastered. I mainly only bought it for Left Behind, the DLC story chapter.
Oh yeah, I've not played that.
Where you just play as Ellie. It's really good. I would say I enjoyed it as much as the main game, even more than the main game. Like, everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay from Last of Us, but I do like the story, and how they've told the story in Left Behind is just excellent. It was worth the £9.90 or whatever I paid for the full game.
I think Left Behind is probably more, in a way, even more story driven than the main game, because there are whole sections. Well, there are in the main game as well, but it seems to alternate between. There are parts with actual gameplay, but then it alternates between that and just story exploration and character interaction.
Since you brought that up, so what do we all think of the idea there might be an Last of Us 2?
Well, you think it's bound to happen. It's Last of Us sold how many million copies and stuff.
Yeah, but...
and, it's big exclusive. It could be like Sony's big game, like 2017 or something. Naughty Dog's got 2 teams. So
I think there's plenty more that can be done with the world. I just don't really want to see the same characters revisited. I think we've had Joel's story.
Have to be Ellie or Joel.
And, arguably there could be more to tell with Ellie. I think Joel's definitely done, but it would be nice to have just a completely new story. There's plenty you can do in that world. Unrelated to the first game, but still as a sequel.
That's true. The thing I don't find the world that interesting. It's just, it's another zombie apocalypse. I'd much rather see Naughty Dog presents something completely unrelated, and they can just say, yeah, this is the spiritual successor to The Last of Us. But I don't need to see, the clickers again, driving across a dilapidated America again. I definitely don't need to see any more of those characters.
It is a zombie world and they are overdone, but you could have said that before The Last of Us came out, and then they went and did an amazing job with that, so I'm sure they could do...
I'd rather see them do to something else what they've done to zombies. I'd rather see, here's Naughty Dog's take on, a dull fantasy setting, and see them do something incredible with that, or here's Naughty Dog with the Wild West, and see them do something incredible with that.
But I think...
What's that, sorry?
Personally, I just want a new Jak and Daxter game, but I think my hopes of that are going to be forever dashed.
I want Crash Bandicoot, mate.
Nah, they sold that though.
Yeah.
They don't own that anymore.
There's Activision own it. So there was always talks that Activision and Sony are trying to sort out a deal, and obviously the friendship between Activision and Sony now, Destiny exclusive content, COD exclusive content and stuff. You wouldn't put it past some deal happening. Crash makes a comeback or something.
Well, I think they should just give Activision The Last of Us rights and get the Crash rights back. I think that's a fair deal.
Fair trade, yeah.
Yeah.
Can
So
you
we could
imagine
have
the
a
next Last of Us game that would get made, though? The Activision
Could have a Last of Us every year.
Oh,
Yeah.
I shudder just
Last of Us
thinking about it.
2K16.
Just, yeah, apart from Last of Us, like I said, Devil May Cry, I played myself. I played it before, it was enjoyable. Played Tour de France for review, which was an odd one. To sort of
How does that play then? Do you just steer? Do you have to give input for the cycling?
It's really tactical, and it takes as long as the real race.
God.
So, you can basically save mid-stage and then come back later, or you can switch teammates and tell them to feed or to pull away and stuff. I was surprised how it looks like a late PS2 game.
So,
I can't believe it's released on the PS4 from graphical standpoint. But if you're buying Tour de France, I don't think you're really that bothered about that. You're bothered about having a authentic cycling game, which it most probably is. Like I said, I don't know much about cycling. I just know who.
Yeah, Chris still uses his stabilizers.
Yeah, I only know Victoria Pendleton, and that's about it.
A cycling game does sound quite limited in premise from the get-go with what you can do with it. I mean,
yeah, unless you're hammering the shot left button, right button, left button, right button to pedal.
Make it a bit like
otherwise, it's just going to be a really crap slow motorbike game.
Athletic games.
Yeah, it was an odd one, but the big one I've been playing, and I finished about half an hour ago. The main story was Batman Arkham Knight.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've not actually played it, Luke.
I've been waiting to see it for a reasonable price, and I'm going to buy it up with the Amazon voucher I won from the Cricket World Cup.
Ah, nice. Yeah, but I've been playing. It's good.
I assume you didn't get the PC port then.
No, I got it on X. I got it with my
Although
Xbox
actually,
One.
speaking of, I'm currently downloading it on my PC, so if my laptop runs it, I'll just play it on that. But I very much doubt it's going to.
I was going to say, Jay pointed out, some person he knows of a beast of a PC can get it to run.
Yeah, it's not the power of your PC, it's just whether you can handle the.
I mean, have they patched it already?
They will. I didn't pay any money for it, so I'm not bothered.
Oh, there you go.
Came through.
Did it come part as the PC deal?
It came free with Muss's PC, and I Steam share with him, so.
No, nice. I was going to say, I've seen a lot of people get it free on PC because of buying a certain graphics card or something. And you got this, you got it for free.
Yeah, they were dishing it out free with all these PCs, and then the day after it came out.
Yeah, because they knew it didn't work. So they knew it didn't work, so they were send it out free. That's how we'll get rid of it.
It'll get patched before long.
Yeah. But anyway, I played it on Xbox One because it came in my Xbox One bundle, so I just played it on that. Mm-hmm. It's good, very good, but I feel it's the worst of the Rocksteady Arkham trilogy.
Really?
Thanks to one thing called the Batmobile.
See, this is the thing I've heard online, is most of the internet slagging it off, and a couple of people I normally agree with say, no, it's fine. And I guess it just depends if you like shooting things in tanks.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you like shooting things in tank, it's really good. This one part of the game, you fight 40 tanks with your Batmobile, which is cool, but it repeats quite often, and you're mainly doing that.
I'm getting hard on thinking about that.
And the Riddler challenges are, most of them use the Batmobile, and there's a couple of races and stuff like that. It's I don't want to play a Batman game.
Like Gamergate, there's allowed to be a couple of races in games now.
I don't, I want to play a Batman game, not a racing game or a tank shooting game. If I want to play a tank shooting game, I'll play World of Tanks. That's on Xbox.
I mean, you can make the argument.
People the wrong way.
I mean, you can make the argument that they had to add something to differentiate it from the previous games. I mean, Arkham Asylum was the first one, then City, it was open world, that was its big differentiator. For this, they had to add something, otherwise everyone would just say, it's just a game again.
It's civilians.
Yeah, it's just the world's the world's obviously supposed to be Gotham now, and it doesn't feel that big. But I think that's mainly because you're going around all the time in the Batmobile, so it can get to places quite quickly. I just feel that we've got this idea, let's put the Batmobile in, and they've just got run wild with it. To me, Asylum is still the best Batman game, the first one.
That's the hipster option, it's City.
I mean...
No, there's definitely an argument for both. What everyone was hoping was that this one would be the best of City with the best of Asylum. Obviously, it doesn't seem like that's been the case.
No, like, Asylum I'm not a fan of Metroidvanias and that, but it was brought up in the Rotating podcast how, the Batman series has Metroidvania aspects, and the Asylum had that, where you had to work up and get your new gadgets, and it was smaller, compressed. So
it was full of character.
It's full of character, and all the enemies were quite cool. And like this one is like, oh, I've seen you like twice before, whoop-de-doo sort of thing. Like I said, the game is good, and the story, you want to play through the story. Definitely want to play through the story of it. It's good, and the core Batmaning is good. You feel like Batman. I just think they've overused.
There were two things I was hoping they'd do when they made a third game, and that's to give you some people in that world. So when you're swinging around Batmaning, as well as just like a million dudes to punch, there's innocent people to rescue. There's a woman walking along, she gets mugged, and you jump. No, I know there's not. I'm saying that's what I would have wanted to see, is that. And then in terms of the story and the enemies, I wanted to see Batman fight the Justice League.
I mean, it sounds like, Luke, what the perfect game for you would be is Lego Batman 2. Because I'm pretty sure you could do all those things in that.
Yeah, but I also wanted to do it with the incredible Rocksteady controls.
Yeah.
But, I did enjoy Lego Batman 2.
Yeah, it's a great game, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, if the final boss had been Superman instead of the Arkham Knight, that would have been a game.
That'd have been a twist.
But
luring him down into the red sunlight, punching him with your kryptonite gloves.
I think you will enjoy this if you a bit about Batman going into it. I think you enjoy the story of it. I'm just interested where Rocksteady go from here, especially if there's two endings, and like the secret one is like that could be different.
Pretty sure Rocksteady themselves are thinking they want to wash their hands of this now and get on.
Yeah, they said it was the last one of the sort of trilogy. But Batman could be back, like you said, Justice League game they could make. I'm still not sure how a Superman game would work if they made Superman.
Well, no, I'm thinking you'd still be playing as Batman, but the Justice League would be the enemies.
Well, yeah, but why would you make the Justice League enemies?
They do it all the time in the comics. It's easy to find an excuse.
Yeah, I know.
They're about to bring out a blockbuster film of it next year, man.
Or they make a really good Aquaman game.
It'd just be Endless Ocean mixed with...
I was about to say, just Endless Ocean with a reskinned main character. It would be
punching.
Perfect.
Or a Wonder Woman game. Just to be,
Yeah.
Hey, here's a female lead for a change.
Or Hawk Girl. Or Supergirl. Or House Girl. Or...
Crypto the Superdog. No, that's the game.
That's the game I want to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you just play as a normal person. You just got to try and entice him into solving crimes. Like, no, Crypto, stop weeing on that lamppost and come and stop the mugger.
Did you ever play the... I think it was on PS2. I don't know if it was on Xbox as well. It was a game called Dog's Life, I think it was called.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
That was really interesting. You had like scent vision and ran around a little American suburbia as a dog doing little dog tasks.
Yeah, green right there.
Yeah, it's so it's good. It's obviously been getting good reviews. Batman. It was in the Rotating Platforms episode 20 where most of them agree it's probably one of the best games this gen so far, and obviously being 2015.
One of the first purely this gen games we've had, to be fair.
Yes, kind of. Will it be Game of the Year, or have we already had it in Bloodborne or something?
Well, from the two that I'm planning on playing, and which I've been listening to a lot of people talk about, obviously Batman and The Witcher 3.
Yes.
And I'm still inclined to think that when I play them, Witcher 3 is going to be better. Just from everything I've heard, it sounds like it does a lot more new and interesting things.
I mean, so I've got The Witcher 3. and I've played a good few hours, but I haven't gone back to it in a few weeks. So yeah, it is a really good game, but it's probably not Game of the Year for me. But
like Dark Souls 2, it's not something I'm going to sit down and play as soon as I finish Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's.
I think Batman is the sort of game that when I finish Dark Souls, I can be like, right, now I want to play something where I can just punch some lads and always win.
The Witcher 3 takes a lot of dedication and time.
Yeah, that's why
which is why I haven't played it recently, just because I need to find a proper block of time I can sit down and go, right, time to get into this.
I think Bloodborne, like 5 years from now, is going to be the game from this year that people are actually going to look back on and remember. But it's funny how no one's really talked about it since Batman and Witcher have come out.
Is it come out early in the year and is only on the PS4? Because I know that was issues a few years ago. Like people forgot Mass Effect 2 came out, and it's like, no, it came out because it came out in January. It's like,
I mean, my game of the year so far is still Monster Hunter, because that came out this year. But again, that's a game that came out really early this year.
I think, and this might sound crazy, my game of the year is Splatoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same. I haven't played as much of it as I would like. I could have go for Batman, even though it's got a load of issues. I'm gonna say Batman at the moment because I've come home from work and I've wanted to play Batman. You know, and like Splatoon, it's like, but I've actually wanted to come and play Batman and finish Batman.
I've dragged my flat around, and so that I could have 2 TVs and 2 Wii U's in the same room when my friend came round and played just the whole weekend Splatoon. But I know
if only it had decent local co-op, and then everything would be fine. But,
oh yeah. But, you know, obviously the feature set's not quite there yet, and there's some, you know, missing bits from the online. But when you're in a game and you're playing it, there's nothing I've enjoyed that much.
I actually quite like how they've been rolling out content.
I quite like that.
It was very bare bones at the start, admittedly, but now there's more modes coming. Well, we've already got 2 different kinds of rank levels, and it's improving all the time, and it's a reason to keep going back to it. Rather than...
Yeah, I think I'll eventually go back like August when the...
Well, if you keep your eye on my review diaries on Nintendo.co.uk...
When the friend party goes up, and then
that's
obviously
going to be the big one.
You know, all GNamer crew and stuff, and, you know...
Destroy that SONM crew.
I think a lot of people have been waiting for the team battle. It's the biggest glaring omission from the game. It's the ability to
get
play.
games in up till then, so that when that does happen, I can be all over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the actual moment for moment, just sitting and playing that game, is some of the most fun I've had in a long time. And I think by the end of the year, when all the features are installed and it's raring to go, nothing's going to come close to it just for pure fun.
It's a great new Nintendo IP as well. It's not often we see a big new Nintendo IP, and it's got all the Nintendo polish that you'd expect. And,
and also it's got that classic Nintendo thing of being bright and bubbly, and as soon as you scratch below the surface, you're like, fuck me. Like, have either of you played much single player?
Yeah, I've played through the single player.
Yeah, I've got like 6 missions to go or something like that.
If you read all the scrolls, it quite explicitly tells you that this is after the end of the Earth and mankind is extinct.
Yeah, it's post-apocalyptic, isn't it? But,
yeah. And like the little cat that judges your matches was like cryogenically frozen to survive the end of the world.
So, the single player was interesting because I felt it was really interesting at the start. It kept adding new mechanics at the time, then it started to drag a little. But then the final boss came along and completely blew the rest of the single player out of the water. It was just like another level.
Like no one really spoke about it at first, but it played like the classic Nintendo games. Every level introduced something new. If you gave enough time for it, and then to get the scroll, you'd have to do a twist on that new technique. It's just it was pure.
I mean, the worst
Nintendo
levels
genius.
were probably the ones that were based on the multiplayer maps, where they just kind of.
See, I quite enjoyed them because I liked having a proper match against the Octolings.
Yeah, it broke it up, I guess, but it didn't add as much in terms of
it didn't feel like the flurry of new ideas that the other levels did. But like in almost any game, any game that has an enemy which is basically just you, I always really enjoy. So like Bayonetta has the bits where you fight the like the Lumen Sage or John in the first one, and then this had the Octolings.
Dark Link fights.
Or when Batman fights someone like Deathstroke or something, or the Dark Knight in the new one. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. It's just a nice little moment in most games.
Well, it's like it's not the game cheating to beat you by being better, like more powerful. No, it's literally just going, here is a test of your skills.
And they're not often they are like the most interesting character as well. If the game does have a lot of story, because it's someone who recurs. Although Darkling is literally just, here's you and he's black and he's going to stab you.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say Darkling's probably the least interesting.
You just pull out a hammer and hit him with it. He doesn't know what to do.
So you obviously said it's mostly going to end up being the most fun at the end of the year, but will it end up being the best game, especially knowing Metal Gear Solid 5's to come?
Solid 5 is going to be big on my list. I do love Metal Gear.
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 I couldn't care less about.
No, I couldn't really care less about.
I'm a massive Metal Gear fan, and there's pretty much no doubt in my mind, unless they seriously screw it up somehow, which I really don't think they will, that MGS5 will be the game of the year. I mean, I absolutely love Ground Zeroes. I was playing it recently, actually, again. The mechanics from that, plus all the other mechanics we've seen in trailers, MGS5 just looks to be massive, and yeah, I'm really excited for that.
It's going to be good. We should just talk about Metal Gear Solid all episode, considering Andy hates it.
This is the first one in ages he's not been on.
Yeah, it's the first he's not been on, and we're talking about Metal Gear, but it's been
Gear
rather good to talk about.
Kept you waiting, huh?
And then I am excited for Fallout 4 as well. I really liked Fallout 3, and New Vegas I thought was even better than Fallout 3. And then
I really like Fallout.
Yeah, I don't know. I played number 3. I just couldn't get on with it. I played it in a good 8 or 10 hours as well. It just, I don't know. It just never clicked.
I can tell you exactly why I didn't like it. And it's just because playing it feels like it should play more like an FPS. But I can be shooting someone in the head, and there's just little numbers coming out of them, and that bothers me. I want to see them just drop dead if I shoot them in the head.
I mean, the thing I find lacking is really the more realistic mode, because it would be nice to be able to, as you said, have a lot more realism in, rather than just doing loads of HP damage and then them finally dropping dead. Being able to be more tactical in what you're doing.
You go into it thinking, this is an RPG, that's fine. It's because of the aesthetic and the first-person view and the guns. My instinct is for it to play like an FPS, and it doesn't.
I actually played through 3 and New Vegas in third person, and I think I'm one of the very few people in the world to do that. But it's clearly not designed for it. You have to switch to first person to do stuff like pick up items and loot and stuff, because it's really hard to do in third person. But I don't know, I just find I prefer games in third person. I find them more immersive. I just like
most games I like tend to be in third person, but I do enjoy the
New Vegas let you reposition the camera as well. So in Fallout 3, the third person was really zoomed out, not very nice. But in New Vegas, you could zoom in and get in Resi 4, you have that over the shoulder view.
Oh yeah, I love that.
You get that same kind of view, but in Fallout, which helped with the aiming and what have you.
Was Evil Within this year?
Yes. No, it was last year, wasn't it? Wasn't it late last year, like October? It must have been about Halloween, surely.
When did I buy my Xbox?
You bought it last year, I'm sure you did.
I have no idea. Yeah, maybe it was this year. Or maybe it was last year, sorry. Because that's another one which is... I loved that when it came out, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I think that was late last year.
That was really, really good in the middle, with a crap beginning and a crap end.
Yeah, that's all I can think of the big two coming, Metal Gear and Fallout. Well, Halo, but I'm not sure Halo is really going to be
It's Call of Duty with a Halo skin. It's not really Halo, is it?
No,
looks quite linear, the battles.
Betas, it is very much COD now, which is rather disappointing.
Well,
I'm still going to...
more interested in the single player, but even in that, obviously, like Halo 1 and 2 especially, it was, here's a big map with like a million different ways you can kill all these enemies, just enjoy yourself. Whereas this looks a bit more corridor shootery, from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm disappointed they've gone that route. I'm still going to play it, obviously, for the Halo lore and stuff.
Star Wars Battlefront obviously is coming.
Oh yeah, I can't think of anything on Nintendo.
Devil's Third.
Xenoblade.
There you go. Devil's Third, Game of the Year. It's going to be coming out next month.
I've been hearing lately.
Fun?
I actually quite like the look of it.
I did at first, but
in a
there's a load of
minority.
stuff that's just come out the last couple of days from playtests. They're not saying it's very good.
Yeah, but I've watched some of the videos of the gameplay, and it looks janky, and it looks old, and it looks kind of unfinished, and the story seems crazy with bad voice acting, and all those things make me want to play it.
Yeah, I do enjoy a bit of that, so I'm sure I'll pick it up and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xenoblade this year, isn't it? That's going to be good.
Yeah, it's late December though.
Yeah, well, that's good because
That's
January and February will give me something to sink my teeth into.
Yeah, that's
Probably too late to get enough momentum to be voted as Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sort of thing.
Metal Gear, that's going to be a big one. And Star Fox, I know it's not on the top many lists, but it's going to be high up my list.
Yeah, it's unless some weird indie comes out, if No Man's Sky still comes out this year, which it's
it's still no confirmed release date, isn't it?
No Man's Sky looks interesting, but it also looks like when you actually play it, it's going to get pretty boring pretty quick.
They said summer 2015, so I don't know when summer actually ends, but well, if it's in England, if they're going by English,
yeah, they've only got about a 2-week window there.
Yeah, it's already over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
There was that afternoon of it, that was our summer.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, everybody's gone to the Rapture or something like that, or was Talos Principle this year, or was that last year?
I'm
not sure, but there could be like an obscure one, like obviously like 2011 Journey, One Few.
I mean,
Walking
Journey
Dead
could win again this year because I think the PS4 version is out this Friday. So
no, doesn't.
Yeah, it's a re-release, so it doesn't count. But I am looking forward to playing it again.
It's just a re-release machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
it's all the people who were on 360 can now play all the games they missed. Now they've moved over to PS4.
Yeah. So. And Xbox One's just got just as many re-releases. Master Chief, Rare Replay Collection. That's going to be excellent.
Yeah, because
that is the one thing
I haven't really played. So
I would like to get an Xbox One for is the Rare Collection, but I don't think I can justify a whole console to play some old Rare games.
That's fair. Well, I never had the 360. This is the first Xbox I've ever owned.
Yeah, so I've still never had an Xbox, which is why I can't talk about Halo in any respect because I know nothing of it.
Well, there's this big lad in green, right? And he shoots aliens.
Halo's a pretty cool guy, right?
No, Halo's the princess you rescue at the end.
Oh, yeah. No, you rescue Cortana.
Mate, I was making a joke.
But she's in another ring.
So on Maz killing everyone's fun, should we call it a night?
Yeah, I think that's about it. Unless anyone's got anything to end the podcast.
Oh no, I mean if you're on GNamer, then you keep on trucking because you're top lads. And if you're listening to this from the SO&N forum, then come on over to GNamer and ditch them losers.
Yeah,
or do both. You can do both,
I'm so bad.
It's
so hard.
Come to the #1 Nintendo forum.
Everybody love each other. Get on.
Yeah.
Later. Bye.
I forgot one game I was playing.
What's that?
I forgot one game I played. Due to E3, I started playing Shenmue again.
I do actually really want to play Shenmue 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm in the same position where I've never played them, but I would like to. And
if they bring out like a properly nice little Shenmue 1 and 2 HD, which I'm sure they've got doing that, it would sell so easily right now and take so little effort.
I mean, I think the rights are owned. It's owned by someone else, right? Which is why they.
Yu Suzuki owns the franchise going forward, but Sega still own 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I mean, even if they're not going to make any money off 3, like.
Oh no, they would totally make a
bring up 1 and 2 now, isn't it?
Yeah, you capitalise on releasing 1 and 2.
Especially considering 3 is like 2 years away anyway, but people are clamouring to get something.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if we see that very soon.
Well, Sega, I should say, did say they got a big announcement in September to please fans.
New Sonic game.
Sonic HD Collection. Sonic Boom 2.
Sonic 06 HD.
No, please, no, please, no.
I mean, it already was HD, but that could be the joke.
They still call them HD though, don't they?
Yeah, because they're now in 1080p and stuff like that.
Wow.
So.
Oh, resolution. PC Master Race.
Yeah, it's true HD. Dishonored HD comes next
Really?
month.
See, when everyone's got 4K in a few years' time, they'll be bringing them out again and calling them HD.
Yeah, I made a joke about that I did an article about HD releases. I made a joke about Bloodborne. We'll be playing that in 10 years' time again in 4K. On the PS5.
There's very little chance that From Software would be able to do that without cocking it up.
So.
They're artists then, rather than technicians, I think. Yeah, Bloodborne is the game I am eventually going to buy a PS4 for.
So Bloodborne seems like the game that might change my mind on the whole Soul series, just because it looks a lot faster and.
Yeah, I think the combat's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can somehow play Shenmue somehow, I don't know if Mus is on original Xbox or anything.
Internet download maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
I see Dreamcast knocking about in Insanes. They're not that much, so one day I will just buy one.
Yeah, I've got a Dreamcast, so I don't need to pick up the actual game. But
yeah, it's gone up. It's gone up.
Were they not on Xbox?
Yeah, they released them on. They released 2
on as a video.
Okay.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, and it works with the 360. So if you've got a 360, you can play Shenmue 2 and watch obviously Shenmue 1. So you can get around it if you got a Dreamcast or a 360 or original Xbox. You can get your Shenmue loving. It still holds up really well. I'm surprised.
I remember reading about it in Edge magazine back when I was a kid and thinking it sounded like the best thing, but it never came out on anything I owned.
I upped my pledge actually this afternoon for it, so $160.
Jesus Christ!
That is an expensive game.
Yep, I get a T-shirt.
You can tell that you don't live on your own.
You
can tell that you don't live on your own.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a T-shirt that says "Save Shenmue" or something on, which.
I do enjoy whenever you speak about Shenmue, you get 4 different bots retweeting you.
Yeah, I know, it's hilarious.
It's like there used to be that one, if you ever tweeted about RoboCop, it would come along and say, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
And there was one, if you said the words Christmas and cheer, it would come along and say, oh, thanks for your Christmas cheer. Because I put Kamiya, I got Bayonetta for Christmas, cheers for that, mate. And it retweeted it and said, oh, thanks for your Christmas cheer.
That's good.
Truly what Twitter was made for.
Oh, yes. Irritating bots. Anyway, I am going to have to love you and leave you guys, because I really, really need a dump.
What a good note to end it on.
Yeah, and see you. Cheerio.
Bye.